Oh, I just got back from my first ever trip to America. Wow, what a place! The home of sports entertainment. I watched a bit of SmackDown live at a reasonable hour on Fox. I caught Takeshita versus Jericho on TNT, not the Fight app, and I saw Hamilton on Broadway. Well, the first thing I did in the intermission was try to find out what was happening at the WrestleMania XL press conference. I had such a great time. It felt like I was living in an actual movie. Yeah. But just one more thing. I don't get recognised that much, but, I have had a fan come up to me at a modern art museum in Antwerp. I've had a Japanese person go, Oli Davis at a ramen restaurant in Tokyo. So I thought, might have a few people realise who I am in New York on the road to WrestleMania. You know how many people came up to me? Not one! Not a single one! I was there for 5 days! So I've got a bone to pick with you, Angel Diaz-UF4WV, who commented on the 3-count video. Super off topic, but I swear I saw Oli Davis at the MoMA yesterday. Also great video. How am I going to impress my lady partner if I don't get constant validation from people I don't know? Acknowledge me, Angel Diaz-UF4WV. Acknowledge me. Anyway, for today's top stories, The Rock and Roman Reigns go hard on the two-man power trip, a big AEW change coming, and my review of AEW Dynamite. I'm Oli Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
WWE, reportedly, allegedly, perhaps, always had Rock vs. Roman Reigns planned to main event WrestleMania XL, but in a change to the last, 20 years, when the fans said, we don't really want that, WWE reacted by going, oh okay, cool, no worries, we'll do something better. Their response was to turn The Rock heel, which Johnson himself has confirmed, and WrestleVotes have reported he'll be bringing back his short-lived but much-loved Hollywood Rock character. And now, thanks to Johnson's own Instagram post, it seems he will be forming a two-man power trip-esque faction with Roman Reigns. On a video of him and Reigns alongside Paul Heyman walking out of the press conference arena, Rock's caption reads, "You f***ed around and found out quick, didn't you, boy? You and your little friends and all your crybabies have no idea what's coming. The world's on notice." Signed, People's Champ and Tribal Chief. This could signal either a tag team match of Rock and Reigns versus Cody and Friend for night 1 of WrestleMania, with Cody versus Reigns main eventing night 2, The Rock in Roman's corner somehow, or just like WrestleMania 20 and 30, having a lone babyface go up against two members of a heel faction, like Daniel Bryan taking on Evolution's Batista and Randy Orton, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels going against Stevie Richards. Regardless of where the story goes, though, it's looking more and more likely this wasn't the original plan. On Tuesday, E! News released an interview with The Rock where he said he had come back to WWE to create the biggest WrestleMania event of all time, the biggest match of all time between myself and Roman Reigns. It's being speculated The Rock had this interview before WWE shifted gears to make it Reigns versus Cody. Speaking of Cody, his Elimination Chamber plans have been revealed because Rock and Roman sure aren't going to be at that show. Grayson Waller has announced on The Bump that Cody and Seth Rollins will be joining him for a special Australian episode of the Grayson Waller Effect at Elimination Chamber Perth. The week after Elimination Chamber will see AEW's next big pay-per-view, Revolution. And going by Tony Khan's latest big announcement, next month, in Winnipeg, AEW is going to look significantly different in its aftermath, where he posted on X, AEW Dynamite is red, AEW Dynamite is blue, until the Wednesday after AEW Revolution, when we'll have a brand new set for you. Before I get on to my Dynamite review, here's a clip from the brand new episode of 3 Count, where Luke and I review every Elimination Chamber match and pay-per-view in 3 words or less / fewer. Edge's selling of eliminating John Cena after Cena did like 1 minute, I think, in there, is better.
The Edge face.
Subscribe and enable notifications to always on to know as soon as that goes live this Sunday. But right now, it's Thursday. You know what that means. My review of the Valentine's Day special of AEW Dynamite in about 5 kisses. Because befitting of the Valentine's Day date, our first match started with Jon Moxley and Dax Harwood kissing each other. Oh, look, there's Mox there kissing Dax, and there's Dax kissing Mox back, and then there's No, Mox. No, don't eat him! Don't eat him! The kissing was, rather counterintuitively, a way to out-toughen your opponent, as this was really a hard grumpy bastard match to decide the hardest grumpiest bastard. After a near time-limit draw of stiff strikes and stiffer smooches, title of your indie wrestling show, Moxley made Dax tap in the Bulldog choke. Cash had to make the save because Mox wouldn't let go, which brought down Claudio to take him out, and Mox finished choking Harwood out to end the segment. The BCC will next be heading down to CMLL for Bryan Danielson's bucket list tour, but the next big AEW program appears to be Mox and Claudio versus FTR, which we're getting next week. But Mox and Dax weren't the only Valentine's Day dates in this match, as all of us here at WrestleTalk are appreciating long-beard referee man in the front row who kept holding an I Heart WrestleTalk sign. We heart you too, long-beard referee man. Don Callis announced that because nobody is stepping up to face Takeshita, he'll face one of the Callis family's own Revolution in Will Ospreay, an amazing match that will both be a great debut showcase for Ospreay while getting Callis over as a sick leader who plays his boys off one another. In the weakest moment on an otherwise excellent episode, Wardlow squashed enhancement talent Barrett Brown. Adam Copeland was given a lot to Daniel Garcia in their TNT #1 contenders match until we got a rarer AEW sighting than a second women's segment on Dynamite, a DQ finish. Killswitch and Nick Wayne attack Copeland, prompting a great angle of Copeland saving Garcia, Martha Wayne low-blowing him. Yes, I know she's not really called Martha Wayne, I'm referencing a mistake I made on a podcast. And Copeland ultimately getting concertoed. Christian then started snogging his Valentine, which is it's his TNT championship. Garcia sat angrily beside Edge's body, presumably setting him up for a program against Christian while Copeland sells his injury. A good move all around, as it makes us want yet another Edge return and gives Garcia space to continue his recent momentum. Now, I was away for a week and I still haven't seen all of last Wednesday's Dynamite, but, Hangman's a heel now? He brought Roderick Strong Adam energy to his in-ring segment with Swerve and Joe as he obsessed over Strickland never beating him the previous week. It wasn't just that Swerve was super over, which he was. Hangman's performance felt intentionally whiny, getting him some decent heel heat. But the final mic drop went to Joe, who awesomely just said he's gonna beat them both. Later on, a big six-man tag was announced for next week of Joe, Swerve and Brian Cage against Hangman, RVD and Hook. It'll be interesting to see how the more deranged Page interacts with his babyface mates. Toni Storm premiered her very good short film, Wet Ink, which showed her getting a knife drawn around the duck tattoo she shares with Deonna Purrazzo. If that's a shoot edition, I commend the dedication to the bit. Deonna had a short reply, "I'm gonna break your arm, bitch." Following their excellent angle to close last week's Dynamite, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson turned up to wrestle in the same blood-drenched white suits they wore while they bludgeoned Sting and his sons. They fought top flight in a really good match, not just because of their complementary athletic abilities, but also because of the extra layer of character conflict. The Jacksons are leaning into their EVP authority, meaning their younger opponents, and sometimes even referee Rick Knox, felt like they weren't just fighting wrestlers, they were fighting their bosses, with all the fear of repercussions that brings. With Nick flaring up, Matt smoothing things over, and their new entrance music, the Jacksons are wrestling's Kendall and Roman from Succession. Knox disallowed Matt's feet on the ropes cheating, but that allowed an unseen low blow for the Jacksons to win. Matthew and Nicholas told Tony Schiavone afterwards they're undefeated this year, so they're the #1 contenders for the tag team titles, which I'm unsure if that's them kayfabe exploiting their character's power or that's how the rankings actually work, because at the last look, they weren't even in the top 5. Don't think about it too much, it hurts my head. So let's instead focus on the great angle that came afterwards. Nick fined Schiavone $1,000 for defaming them on commentary and then pushed him to the ground. When they helped him back to his knees, there was a moment where Tony was in the EVP trigger position for a fantastic visual. This brought out a fiery Darby Allin, who cut a brilliant work shoot promo. He said how in the early days, the Bucks just hired all their S-word California friends. Darby wasn't on the first episode of Dynamite, but Brandon Cutler was. What the F? Thank God there was an EVP there at the time with some brains to hire Alan, and he's not talking about Kenny Omega, which started a light, rather confused chant for Cody Rhodes, as the AEW fans found themselves cheering the guy who left the company. Darby made the tag title match official for Revolution. Rankings! This is the best non-elite storyline the Bucks have done in AEW. A very over Willow Nightingale beats Sky Blue thanks to Stokely Hathaway's help. And breaking news in the main event, Matt Taven is awesome, which we all knew at least 4 years ago. Here's him and Dalton Castle on an old WrestleTalk podcast with no context.
British pounds. Hey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Get it. I'm gonna pick him back on up and still go.
I think the ship has sailed on the demonetization.
Yes, the main event of Orange Cassidy versus Matt Taven in a Texas death match didn't make much sense going into this episode of Dynamite. It was in Texas, I guess. Cassidy's feuding with the Undisputed Kingdom. But try telling that to Taven, who put on one of the most fun TV matches of the year from out of nowhere with Cassidy. It was mostly a story of Taven versus tables. The first one didn't break off his elbow drop from the stage, so he suplexed Cassidy through it instead. And then, in a shocking spot, Taven did a huge running senton over the top rope to crash through a propped-up table on the announce desk when Cassidy moved. There were Valentine's Day chocolate boxes full of thumbtacks, loads of blood, Trent pulling out a lead pipe like he's Terminator, and Taven yelling, "I'm Matt Taven," before getting knocked out with a chain-fisted orange punch, letting Cassidy win as the last man standing. This was a terrific episode of Dynamite, the second best of the year for me at 89%. While you wait for our every Elimination Chamber reviewed episode of 3 Count, enjoy our prediction show for Elimination Chamber Perth, which dates instantly thanks to WrestleMania XL's press conference.